You are making the world a better place by listening to the Joy of Living podcast. This is your guide to achieving a more purposeful, powerful, and positive life. Join Barry Shore in unlocking the best version of you and becoming happier, healthier, and wealthier. And now, here's your ambassador of joy, Barry Shore.
Good day, beautiful, bountiful, beloved, immortal beings, and good-looking people. Remember, you're good-looking. You're always looking for and finding the good. That's the definition of a good-looking person. And you have tuned in consciously and conscientiously today to the Joy of Living podcast with your humble host, Barry Shore. And you tuned in for one reason and one reason only. It's the best reason in the whole world because you care the most in the entire world about you. Y-O-U. Actually, that's great because when you become the best you make the world a better place. You build more bridges of harmony, you create more joy, happiness, peace, and love in the world. And you are going to be richly rewarded today because you're going to experience one of the most remarkable human beings that's walking the planet these days. His name is Jeffrey Fried. And just get ready, buckle up because this it's a special occasion. This is the T word, transformational. So, in this show, we work with the three fundamentals of life. And these three fundamentals will enable you to be happier, healthier, and wealthier. Who doesn't want that? Three fundamentals, of course, are number one, life. Your life has purpose. And when you lead a purpose-driven life, number two happens. In this case, a good number two, you go MAD. Now, MAD is a wonderful acronym that stands for make a difference. You lead a purpose-driven life, you make a difference in the world. And number three is to unlock the power and the secrets of everyday words and terms. Simple example, this show is being carried over the internet to hundreds of thousands of people all over the world. And if you ask anybody, what does WWW stand for? Invariably, it's how you have to do the internet. Factually speaking, they're correct. Our world, however, the world of the positive, purposeful, powerful, and pleasant, WWW stands for what a wonderful world. And what is a word, right? WHATA. Now, of course, whenever you hear the opening bars of that amazing song, What a Wonderful World, thank you, Louis Armstrong, Satchmo, for enabling it to go viral and not just touch tens of millions, 100 millions, but billions of people are on the planet. What do right away? You can't help it. You smile. Now, smile is one of the most interesting, important, positive words you can ever leverage in your life because smile stands for seeing miracles in life every day. That's right, seeing miracles in life every day. Now, I'm back speaking to people without masks and lots of hugging, lots of energy. Recently, I spoke to 1,172 people, great upbeat audience. I'm telling you the story about Barry Shore. I'm talking about smile, seeing miracles in life every day. Sometimes people raise their hands and say, hey, Barry Shore, I've been up for hours, I haven't seen any miracles. And I asked them, are you here? Can you hear? Can you stand still? I can't do that. Can you walk? I can barely do that. Do you have water to drink? Do you have food to eat? A place to sleep? Do you have family? Do you have friends? Every single one of those is a miracle. And the proof, the simplest proof is what? 1 million people didn't get out of bed this morning. You know why? They died. By definition, you didn't. And therefore, you have an obligation to live life to the full exuberantly. So let me tell you a quick story. Imagine if you can, it's about me, standing up in the morning, hale and hearty, able to leap tall buildings in a single bound, and that evening being in the hospital, totally, completely paralyzed. It's called from the neck down. It's called a quadriplegic. And it was not an automobile accident. It was not a spinal injury. It was a rare disease which I never heard of the day before. It took over my body and rendered me totally, completely paralyzed. I could just communicate by blinking my eyes. I was 144 days in the hospital. I was 2 years in a hospital bed in my own home. I couldn't turn over by myself. I was 4 years in a wheelchair. I had braces on both my legs, my hips, my ankles. That was progress. Thank God today I'm vertical and ambulatory with the help of a 7-foot walking wand, but I still can't walk up a stair by myself. I can't walk up a curb by myself. And I've helped 12 hours a day, 7 days a week. But you hear my voice. Positive, purposeful, powerful, and pleasant, all because of one word. And that word is smile. Seeing miracles in life every day. I got to tell you a quick story. My 8-year-old niece comes over to me a few weeks ago and she says, Uncle Barry, can we spell smile S-M-I-E-L? I thought about it. Smile sounds the same. Why not? I asked her, how come? She says, because then it would stand for seeing miracles in everyday life. An 8-year-old, what was she doing? She was creating the kind of world she wants to live in. Now, create is an amazing word that stands for causing rethinking, enabling all to excel. And rethinking is what we call a shift in your perspective. Now, shift is an amazing word. I've been working with people for more than 42 years. And I can tell you 97.2% of all people, when I talk about shift perspective, they drop the F and the other stuff happens. You're going to be effing careful with your F. You want to shift your perspective, because when you do that, then you can internalize, utilize, and leverage the 6 most important words you'll ever learn in your life. Choice, not chance, determines your destiny. Choice, not chance, determines how you will move forward in life, your trajectory in life, how you choose to respond to any given situation. So before we bring on our amazing guest, wonderful Jeffrey Fried, I have to warn him and you in advance of some of the new people who have come. We have 348,000, 350,000 people every week, and you're always bringing your family and friends. So thank you so much. Humbled and honored. God willing, we'll get to 500,000 pretty soon. And I just want to warn you, I do use a lot of 4-letter words. I even use the 4-letter FU word. I do it for the shock value, and it's fun. Now, of course, the 4-letter words that we use, because we live in the world of the positive, purposeful, powerful, and pleasant, are love, life, hope, free, gift, play, pray, swim. And the 4-letter FU word is fun. Fun, yes, F-U, capital N, capital N. Now, I know some people raise their hands right away and say, hey, Barry, sure, fun's only spelled with 3 letters. Not in our world. The world of the positive, purposeful, powerful, plans. But F-U, capital N. So after the show, when you see your family and friends and you want to talk to them about what's going on in the show, just point your finger and smile with your eyes and your lips and say, F you, everybody. Remember, add capital N, capital N. Would you get that? Listen to Barry Shore. He wants to teach the world to F you, capital N, capital N. So before we bring on Jeff, I'm going to ask everybody to use the 2 most powerful words in the English language 3 times a day from now and the rest of your life, because make you happier, healthier, and wealthier. And these 2 words, of course, are thank you, thank you, thank you. Thanks stands for to harmonize and network kindness. Imagine you walk into your coffee shop, you order a fancy latte, you sit down, somebody brings it to you, you say thank you. You walk in the coffee shop, you order a fancy latte, a few minutes go by, nobody brings it. So you go to the kind and say, I'm sorry, we forgot, we'll bring it. Sit down, a couple of more minutes go by, somebody brings it, still say thank you. You're walking out of the coffee shop and it's raining out. Somebody holds the door open for you. You say thank you. You're walking out of the coffee shop and it's raining and somebody slams the door on you. You say, thank you. You're in traffic, you're late for an appointment, somebody cuts you off. You say, thank you. Get up in the middle of the night and you stub your toe and it hurts. You say, thank you. To harmonize and nurture kindness. Kind is an amazing word that stands to keep inspiring noble deeds. I can't think of anybody that inspires noble deeds that I want to share with you more than the amazing, wonderful, always upbeat Jeffrey Fried. Jeff, please say hello to 158,927 people around the world.
Hello, Barry, and all of your following. It's very nice. And that was a wonderful background. I did learn, and I thank you.
Woo! Thank you. By the way, Jeff, when was the last time somebody said F you to you and you laughed?
Pretty often. I don't know if that's the right answer, but I really, don't take all that too seriously. And some of the industries that I'm involved, that's the good morning.
Well, we're going to talk about that. By the way, I'm going to tell you 3 things only about Jeff. Yes, I'm going to jump right in. He is the Chief Energizing Officer. I don't mean energy officer, energizing officer of his company, Fried & Company, and also its affiliate, All In Entertainment, because that's how he lives his life. He is all in. Now, if I started telling you all the things about him, it would take the rest of the show and another show. So I'm not going to do that. But I will tell you some of the industries he's involved in. And I'm just going to use the alphabet. Aviation, boxing, casinos, delicious food, film, sneakers, TV, and on and on. So we're just going to jump right in and talk about what animates my listening audience, and the reason that I am so honored and humbled that you're joining us today, which is the ability to have, grow, direct, and be successful in the world of business. So I'm going to just ask you, wonderful Jeff Fried, you are involved in so many different businesses with so many different kinds of people around the world. Can you begin to give us one or two principles that you have found have been so beneficial to you, no matter what the industry and no matter what the country?
Well, at the core of all that is it's really all about with whom you associate. None of us could accomplish things on our own solely in a grand scale. And that is a foundational issue. In boxing, we used to have a comment, you cannot do a good deal with a bad person. That probably applies beyond boxing. And I am so fortunate the people in my life that energizes me more than I can share even on this podcast. And I'll also maybe tell you that gives some of the background. There's three values, principles that when you walk in our office are displayed. These are three principles and we follow them. The first has to do with integrity and character. And it's signage that says character is how you treat someone that cannot do anything for you. Character is pretty easy to have if I want something from you and so on. That's not integrity and character. The second is doing well while doing good. So we really do try to touch areas and industries that have a beneficial purpose. You clearly have to do good. You have to be able to provide, you have to make a living, you have to financially, and all of the things that life does require in that regard. But that is something that is in our lens when we consider getting involved. The first thing is always the people. The second thing is the widget and doing well while doing good. The third really emanates from where I come from in Coney Island, in Brooklyn. Much different lifestyle than I live today, although the values are the same. And this is right in our conference room. History honors the daring, forgets the timid. I think people need to be bold. And that is the approach that we take. You try to be smart about it. But if you're not going to be bold and you're not going to have that confidence in yourself, it's hard to reach the levels that you want, commercially or personally. Mm-hmm. So those are the three principles. Follow each one. But at the core of everything is the people that I'm involved with, the people that are close with me. And that also, as I said earlier, energizes me, and I want their success. You talk about sneakers or SneakerCon, the company we have, these three young founders. It's just wonderful, wonderful seeing what has evolved globally. So many of your viewers, there'll be a SneakerCon event in their city because it's a global brand. And we were just in Osaka, Japan. Then we were in Las Vegas and Washington, D.C. the same day. This past weekend was the San Francisco Bay Area. So, the other thing you have to find is connectivity. You had said, has anyone ever said F you to me and say, thank you? One of the reasons that I don't take any of that stuff too seriously is I don't know what they're going through. Like I've been standing in line at a coffee place and the person in front of me was just ripping this, young woman. I felt so badly for her. She was trying to do the right thing. And then he finally left and it was my turn. And I just said to her, you handled that so professionally. You kept your demeanor. I just want to share something that, we don't know what's going on in his life. He actually could be a good person for all we know. But people handle circumstances differently. And, one of the things and why I have such a wonderful world around me, I never, ever make any judgments. None. Who am I to judge anyone else? Uh, but everyone has their own stuff. Everyone has stuff. And you just have to be respectful, courteous. It doesn't mean everyone's going to be your best friend. It doesn't mean everyone that you meet, you're going to do business. You have to be able to read people, understand it. But nothing is worth it to me putting up with like unnecessary negative crap. Negative crap comes with the territory at times, and you work through it. You work the problem. If it's unnecessary negative crap, we're out.
So let's unpack a few things here, because what everybody's just had in the past few minutes is a Harvard Business School education without having to go. And there are a couple of things I'd like to unpack. And again, I'm truly thankful to Jeff for making the time today. Everything you want to know about him is going to be at my website. Just go to barryshore.com and everything about Jeff will be there. You don't have to think about it, take any notes, do research. Just let it flow around you, through you, and through you, because this is something amazing. You just cannot have this on a regular basis. It doesn't happen. I mean, I'm just so honored that he's here. And two things I'd like to share. One is that we have been privileged to distribute something called Keep Smiling cards in the Keep Smiling movement, and distributed millions of them around the world. And one of the cards that we have reads, "Everyone you meet is fighting a battle you know nothing about." That's on the front of the card. On the back of the card, it reads, "Be kind, always." You never know. You never know. So therefore, we don't judge. We do the best we can in life, because that's how you were raised. Those are your values, your core being. And I'd like to share with you also, wonderful Jeff, that I have a friend who played for Ohio State football, and great coach, the head football coach at Ohio State. And he taught his players, he says, "I'm not building football players, I'm building men." And he taught them a great word. It's called yaw, YAW, which stands for you are who you associate with, right? You associate with energizing, upbeat, powerful, purposeful, positive, pleasant people. Well, guess what happens? Duh. You have a positive, upbeat, powerful world. Now, of course, stuff happens all the time because there's stuff, like you said. But what we want to do is to accent the positive and eliminate the negative, and don't mess with Mr. In Between. So only a few people know that song. Jeff and I are old enough to understand that and smile when we sing it and say it. So I just want to urge everybody to understand the issues that we're dealing with here. As he said, it's character. It's people, then the widget, because people make everything happen. You can have great team of people, and the widget is also great, but stuff happens along the way. But if they're great people, guess what? They pick themselves up, dust themselves off, and get back in the game. Am I right on that?
No, that's very well said. And I just wanted to comment on something you said earlier about positivity and sharing the enthusiasm, the energy. Everyone can do it in their own way. Not everyone is animated. Not everyone walks around with a smile from cheek to cheek. It takes different types of people, and it's important for each of us to understand that. Just because someone's smiling, in certain industries, the ones that you have to watch out for are the gangsters in suits. They smile at you. They're wearing these fancy suits with ties and all this. They're worse than anyone. So it's about reading people. And then you brought up something, about what I said, that it's first about the people and then the widget in a commercial setting, in a startup venture or something of that nature. The reason I say that is there's many businesses we've been fortunate to get behind. None of them were my creative ideas, none. But these brilliant young entrepreneurs have a vision. They just know, feel, and they're lacking a few things. Some of it is gray hair, some of it's a bit of wisdom, some of it's a bit of financing, some guidance, all of that. I wish I did have that gray hair. So
Right.
the other
I
thing
showed you.
is 100% of every business that I've been involved, 100%, they have had to pivot from their beautiful business plan and what they were going to accomplish and how they were going to do it. Now, the pivot can be relatively minor, or it can be a fairly major pivot because market conditions have changed, situations arise. It happens. And in my experience, as you said, the right people will adapt. And that's the reason why I spend time with the people.
So I'm going to ask you to just pause there, because we have, thank God, sponsors that love us. We only bring in great goods and services that we urge everybody to patronize. So we're going to take a quick break. We'll be right back of this. Don't go away. There is more of this amazing being, Jeff Fried, on the other side of this brief commercial. Be right back. Good day, everybody. This show is sponsored by BetterHelp. That's BetterHelp, BetterHelp. Now, everybody knows, as watches this show, that I've been through a lot of stuff, paralyzed, years in therapy. And when I talk about therapy, I'm talking about physical and mental therapy. So I am a big believer in the benefits of therapy. And I'd like to urge everybody to consider using therapy in your life. It will make a positive, purposeful, powerful, beneficial difference for you. And if you're thinking of starting therapy, I would urge you to give BetterHelp a try. That's BetterHelp, BetterHelp. It's entirely online. It's designed to be convenient, flexible, and suited to your schedule. You fill out a brief questionnaire, you get matched with a licensed therapist, and you can switch therapists anytime for no additional charge. It is really, I believe, a great opportunity if you're considering using therapy. And I urge people, use therapy. So let therapy be your map with BetterHelp. That's betterhelp.com, BetterHelp.com/joy of living. Do it today and you'll get 10% off your first month. Visit betterhelp.com. That's BetterHelp.com/joy of living. You'll thank me. And I know you like thanking me. Go to betterhelp.com/joy of living. Do it now. Good day, beautiful, bountiful, beloved, immortal beings, and good-looking people. Remember, good looking is always looking for and finding the good. Our cup runneth over with good. His name is Jeff Fried, and he is the Chief Energizing Officer of several of the most amazing companies in the world, ranging from aviation through boxing and casinos to great food into stuff that you wouldn't even. I mean, we're going to talk about poker in just a little bit, and we talk about SneakerCon. We talk about people, and we talk about sharing. Share, by the way, Jeff, is a wonderful acronym that stands for spreading happiness and rejuvenating energy. That's your essence. And I love how you mentioned that. And I say this because we have so many people listening throughout the world who want to build businesses and want to grow and have to understand, like you said, stuff happens. So you pivot, you move, you shape what you're in, and let your best self guide you. Again, hopefully you have some gray hair advice coming to you from people who've either done it before or are there for your best interest. And therefore, whatever happens in the business situation, you recognize that the business is based upon you and what you can give to it. Let's talk about something that is, to me personally, fascinating. So you're in such diverse industries as boxing, as you mentioned, which is an amazing business in and of itself because it is a large business, and the world of poker, which is a fascinating world. And I'd like you to speak, if you could, about an amazing being in the poker world. And why did you get involved with world poker? I mean, what is it other than the fact that it's so fascinating? How did you get involved with this amazing, most wonderful person, one of the greatest poker players in the history of the game, maybe the greatest ever when it comes to gambling? And his name is Phil Ivey. If you don't know Phil Ivey, you look it up, Ivey, because he's a great personality. So how did that come about?
Well, I want to also comment real quickly on something you said earlier about those entrepreneurs that may be viewing and what they have to do. Don't get discouraged. Be very careful with whom you associate. That is really a key factor because you're trying to build a business that takes enough. You're trying to build a brand, and building a brand is more challenging than building a business. And that's why, that's an area we focus a big amount of time on, building a brand. But the net of it all is know with whom you're dealing. If there's investors coming in, not all checks are good checks. Just be very careful. Those situations can arise. I just wanted to comment on that because I see it more often than not, and it's human nature on some people. You brought up boxing. That is something, and poker. So back to what I said about dealing with character individuals, honorable, trustworthy. That's what got me involved in both. And you have to be mindful and appreciative of what got you involved in things. So, for example, boxing, let's go there. It's not like I'm a professional boxer. Now, I was Coney Island, a big fan of boxing, the Muhammad Ali era. But I received a phone call from a wonderful friend by the name of Rock Newman. Rock wanted to promote and get involved with a boxer that just came out of the Olympics, the 1988 Olympics, and he lost to Lennox Lewis for the gold medal. His name was Riddick Bowe. And here's what happened. With all of the guidance from Rock and whatever support I can provide, Bowe won the heavyweight championship on November 13, 1992, here in Las Vegas. So 3.5 years or so later, we went from making a best effort in boxing to guiding and representing the heavyweight champion of the world. Some of that we all need to understand. Luck plays a factor. Now, you create your own luck in many times, but when luck and opportunity mesh and you're prepared, it could be game over. And that's what happened for me. It was very fortunate. What a wonderful opportunity that Rock provided. And I tried to give that support because it was a good balance. He speaks extremely well. He had the ability to just maneuver everything for the benefit of Bowe, and someone had to kind of watch his back. So luck and opportunity, and I was prepared. So to be very direct, that opportunity has created a lot of other things for me, emanating from guiding and representing the heavyweight champion of the world. And by the way, if Bowe would have got hit on the chin and got up at 11, in our rise to the championship, I may or may not be sitting on your show now. So you got to also be realistic with yourself, but that's a good person. And that led to so many other boxing endeavors. But you ask about poker. I'm not a poker player.
Oh,
It is exactly the same foundation. Probably a poker player in my business world, that's for
hmm.
sure. But if you're sitting at a table and playing hours and hours and hours, I'm not at that level at all. But the same reason I got involved in boxing was because there may not be a more honorable person that I've met in my life. And again, there's quite a few, but Phil Ivey is just such a person of character. And I saw that early on. I saw what he was about because when we first met over 20 years ago, he was the one on ESPN. He was the one everyone was focused on, everyone. That's not easy either. If we are just growing up in New Jersey like he did and trying to work hard and continuing to play, poker, sleeping underneath bridges and boardwalks so we can get into casinos, even underage, all of that is what it takes. And the humbleness that he displayed early on, even with all of that success, it just showed me what he was about. And 20 some years later, we've been through an awful lot. The poker and the gambling world, he is as elite as it comes. My intention was to also balance with away from the felt or away from the poker table business opportunities because he's also brilliant. And so it's really about the people. Whatever business you may want to bring up with me, I can speak about. I'll tell you those that I know a lot about in terms of, the foundation. Sweet Green is a salad chain it's all company owned, but there's almost 200 locations. These were three boys coming out of Georgetown. I don't know how to source the lettuce and the farming at all. They do. But I will tell you, I spent time with these three young men, and they 21 years old at that time. And now it's a public company. And the journey we took. And if those three young men wanted to get involved in making bottle tops, like something like this, I would have been right next to them because they would figure out how to make that a success. That's the people. The brand is terrific, what it's built. But the reason I bring it up, they're very different from Sweet Green, which is about wholesome, healthy, fast casual. Boxing, you're aware of two people get in the ring, but here's the other side to it. We've built in certain cities gyms, in inner city communities and others where if people would agree to remove themselves from certain activities that they may have been involved in, we'll provide that gym for them, the training, and really believing in themselves. Sometimes people, this is all they know. So again, you may look at someone, why are they doing these terrible things? It doesn't mean they can't learn, but that's also maybe all they know. So we try to give exposure. And when you get in that ring and training, all of the fanfare and bravado goes out the window. It's you, your opponent, and it's as much mental as it is physical. So all of that is doing well while doing good. Phil, he's not someone to bring it up, but the countless people that he tries to help in different circumstances, both financially and with his time. It's just not something that he prefers to get out there. He prefers to just do that. So that's a very consistent theme with the people in my life. And it makes my job pretty easy. There's some guidance. You said we're a bit older, so there's some wisdom we can impart. But the fact that I have zero consideration about intentions and motives, my job's pretty easy.
And if I may be so bold, that's why you have so much FU, capital N, capital N, fun.
Well, you know what? You do have to enjoy what you do. I will say that. And I do. It doesn't mean in the course of days there's not going to be challenges. That's life. And,
Right.
one of the things, and maybe it's helpful because maybe some of your audience was raised how I was raised. And so when you come, from the Coney Island projects area and all of that, I will say this. Back then, to have someone with your positivity smile, say thank you when someone says F you, that didn't exist. It would be viewed as corny and what, are you kidding me? Forget about it. The type of New York type things that you may
Right.
hear about.
Corny Coney Island.
Well, yeah, but here's what I've learned from those days. You can evolve and grow even though you may come from a different background. So talking about Phil, about 18 months ago, he goes, I need you to see this mindfulness coach. I need you to be with him. It's a mindfulness coach from Thailand. It wasn't even a request. The next thing I know, it's on my calendar, and once every week I have a mindfulness session because, and who am I? Here's someone that could be $10 million in a pot, and he's making decisions right then and there. He probably has a pretty good idea about mindfulness. But I bring all of that to say that this 18 months has been very transformational for me. So a lot of things you're speaking about with positivity, with sharing positivity, the smiles. Again, everyone has their own way. You don't have to be cheek to cheek with a smile always. But it's amazing that real recognizes real in terms of people. So that's something that I've learned. I've also learned kindness is a big deal. And sharing your positivity, embracing the circumstances. So there's two ways to look at every situation. The FU that you just called me. I can look at it, what a jerk, what is this, be that, be, do something like FU to you and whatever. Or I can laugh at it. And at the end of the day, one of the things that has come from the mindfulness is embrace situations. And you can. I will share something on a personal level. My oldest son has something called Asperger's syndrome. And it's a high functioning form of autism. And again, everyone has stuff. It's a journey. It is what it is. I never look back because it took a while for me to learn and to do right. All I did was out of love, but may not have been the right thing for his growth. So what is really very special is I am grateful. And I repeat this daily. I'm grateful because I can be there for him. And again, he's doing a great job. He's growing. Everything's relative. So certain developments there might be different than another young man's developments. But how grateful am I that I can be there in different ways from a time perspective, if there's some financial side of things, I'm thankful. And that's the approach I take. And that's something different probably than I would have done years ago in Brooklyn.
I am so deeply touched, Jeff, that we're having this very intimate conversation that, thank God, many, many tens of thousands of people are learning from and with. When we talk about the joy of living, I sum it up in one word: giving. That's the essence of the joy of living, giving, as you just mentioned in your familial relationship. The other thing is to be aware of, and I say this often and people know, that joy is an amazing acronym that stands for Journey of You. That's what joy is really all about. It's our journey, right? The journey of you and how you continue to unfold the beautiful flower that we are, and we continue to open and blossom. And I want to share with you one other that just happened for me recently. I go to the gym a couple of times a week because I swim regularly, even though I used to be a quadriplegic. I now swim 2 miles a day, 6 days a week, which is another story by
Wow.
itself. So people that watch
Congratulations.
the show regularly know that I swim. That's amazing. GYM is a fabulous acronym. You ready? GYM. It stands for, ready? Growing your mindfulness. Growing your mindfulness. Isn't that wonderful? What another way of looking at the gym? And because you said it about these young men who are in boxing and they're coming out of a very difficult environment. And one of the best things for them is to understand that the physical aspect of boxing is great for a release on some level, but it's all here. When you can grow your mindfulness, you can evolve and become that leader that everybody, these young people are the leaders of tomorrow, even today, in their own communities. How wonderful is that? I mean, and you're part of the reason they are. I love it.
We each do our small part. And, if you can pass along some positivity each day, not everyone is going to have your personality. And maybe that's a good thing, because if everyone had my personality, we'd be in trouble. If everyone had, so it takes a village in all different ways. But, I think this mindfulness, when you get into some of the things we were speaking about, including business and certainly boxing and poker, and look at Phil, it's the emotional strength as much as the pure physical, as you mentioned. A lot of the elite level boxers, they're both very talented on each side. And in many instances, it comes down to which one has the emotional strength to deal with that moment and a lot of other areas surrounding it. So I keep coming back to that, because you have to maintain that emotional strength. You cannot have it affect your decision making. You cannot get emotionally involved with certain things. You have to try to stay objective. That's really what I do. Now, I have very dear personal relationships, and there's many times where I'm in the middle. My life is probably described as one big conflict. That's probably my life. And I say that because I'll have two people I know well, and maybe there's a bit of a dispute or some type of resolution needed on something, whatever the issue may be. I welcome those opportunities when they're kind enough to present it, because I will always reply with what I think is right. And as long as with every business, I'll always act what's in the best interest of the company. Even though the founder, well, Jeff, what about this and that? He's brought on investors. He's an investor, or she's an investor, that you need to be mindful of all stakeholders. So that's why the decision is always what's in the best interest of the company. And it makes things, like I said, my job very easy. And I'll share with you, maybe I should have done, but I didn't.
Let's put you on hold. Let's put you on hold just one moment. I want people to be on the edge of their seat. We're going to go to another break. We'll be right back. Don't go away, because something more from wonderful Jeff Fried is coming your way. Don't go away, and be right back. Good day, everybody. Oh, something special for you. Amazing. Sometimes a great notion comes into the world and causes a shift that benefits everyone. Isn't that wonderful? Everyone benefits. This time it's called Einstein Cares. That's right, like Albert Einstein. EinsteinCares.com. EinsteinCares, EinsteinCares.com. Go there and sign up to be aware of when the site launches. Because guess what this site is all about? Its mission is to give $1 billion to charity without costing any giver a penny. Okay, I'm going to say it again. The mission is to give $1 billion to charity without costing any giver a penny. And it's based upon something everybody loves to do. Shop, have fun, give money at no cost. Go to EinsteinCares.com. That's EinsteinCares.com and register now so that when the site launches, you will be amongst the first to know about it. So you can shop, earn money, and give money at no cost. What a wonderful world to even be thinking about these things. EinsteinCares.com. Do it today. You'll thank me, and you know you love thanking me. Best wishes. Bye now. Good day, beautiful, bountiful, beloved, immortal beings, and good-looking people. Maybe good-looking, so I was looking for and finding good. We found good. You are getting good to the core with amazing Jeffrey, the chief energizing officer of so many different businesses, so many different situations, and you're learning, you're getting an education here that is not possible to acquire except from this remarkable gray-haired being who's filled to overflowing with wisdom. We call it a wow. He's a wow man. You know what wow stands for, Jeff? Words of wisdom. That's what wow really is. So you're just about to share with us that when sometimes there is conflict and you're looking for resolution, you're always looking for resolution. What is the best interest of the business or the brand? And you were going to give us an example of something, if you'd be so kind.
Yeah, no, and it's, again, despite the relationship that might exist with one side or the other, and generally there's a close relationship with both. But I think the reason they're coming to me is because of integrity and I'll do right. And the people in my life, by the way, sometimes there's no right or wrong. It just is a subjective, and all you could do is the best you can do. And, but for the record, I need to clarify one thing that I received this clearly from you. You did call me good looking. I just want to know, because I need to write that down if you did.
Yes, I did. I said you're good looking because you're always looking
That's
for and finding the good.
Well, you know what? Now the show is complete. But I did not do any research coming on to your program. As I said, your positivity when we met, it just was special. I see how it could be contagious. I could see how it was genuine. A lot of people are not so genuine and authentic. You were, but I didn't know much about you. And my office, wanted to brief me, and I didn't do it. Now, here's the one thing they did share with me, which I think you're brilliant at. You had mentioned earlier GYM, and the acronym. You mentioned other things, and you mentioned earlier joy, mad, and they had told me another one was sad, dealing with stress, anxiety, depression, and disconnect, actually.
Right.
SAD as in SADD. That I was briefed on. And I thought that was just brilliant. And it's very interesting. All of this, here's the mindfulness that comes out. All of this comes down to our own inner peace. Like, are we good with ourselves? And I didn't know all these labels that the mindfulness coach has been telling me. I just lived my life. And now I understand, and I'm very pleased with it, but I didn't know the labels. And so two things also that I learned that maybe I can share with others. One has to do with these inner thoughts we have. So, the mindfulness coach said, Jeff, you're very interesting. You just do. You don't do a lot of thinking. You just do. And that's probably right. But those inner thoughts that people have are so detrimental because all they do is doubt you. And secondly, those inner thoughts have zero clue with what's really going on. So if you start sitting and overthinking things, you'll certainly end up where you don't necessarily need to. So that's one thing. And then let me give you the other side, which is a bit of a knock on me, he said. He goes, I've never met someone that has to be productive in everything they do. Do you ever just do nothing? I said, sure, I do nothing. I like watching comedies in the evening. It relaxes my mind. He goes, Jeff, I mean nothing. I said, well, I'll walk the dog. Jeff, I said, Paul, I don't understand what you're asking me. Those are things, that's nothing. He goes, no, he just means nothing. Just sitting there. And that I've not mastered in any way, shape, or form, but I get it. And I also think everyone has our own definition of, quote, doing nothing or what is comforting. To me, a 30-minute mindless comedy, it just relaxes me, no more, no less. And that's important to have in our lives too. And you have to have balance. Where I came from and the work you do and all these different companies, you work. And you are much more effective with balance in your life. And again, the reason I'm able to do all this stuff is because each one of these companies has a wonderful management team. So I'm able to guide it a bit. And an example, without giving the name of a company, about 5 years ago, it was about $5 million. Now it's about $500 million in revenues. However, here's the issue. Every other month, I would meet with the CEO. We would meet in between where we both lived. And Barry, for 2 hours, we'd meet every other month. For about an hour and 50 minutes, all I did was listen. And I had my few minutes where sometimes I'd suggest, well, maybe move this one in a little this way, think about that. A lot of our discussions had to do with building the team and my input on that. So I appreciated that he was so open to it. And now obviously we have hundreds of employees, but it was built the right way. And that's, just something I think all of us need to think about. And he is just a terrific leader, but also it gets lonely at the top. So I try to be there for a lot of these individuals because they know there's no judgment. And I'll just give what I think is right. And, we've had a rough economy for the past few years. And the time when our CEOs need the most support is when some of these board members go after them. And I didn't understand that. That's the time that you need to be there because some of this is out of your control. And, so that those are the type of things. And the one final thing with mindfulness. You said the FU and all that. I really don't stress about stuff out of my control. I just don't. I did in the past, so I can tell you can evolve. That's important. Everyone, you want to grow and learn. I learn every day, and you can learn from anyone. One of the things that I really don't like is when someone treats people differently. So if I'm visiting with someone or there's a meeting or something going on in a business setting, and they treat an executive one way and a staff member the other way, we're gone. Because that's a character flaw that we won't deal with.
Okay, are you ready for this?
I think so.
I love you. Okay.
Thank you. That's like if you said F you. Thank you.
F you. I'm loath to tell you this, but our time has come to a close for the moment. And I have 3 questions for you, amazing Jeff Fried. Are you ready, sir?
Yes, sir.
3 questions. Here we go. First question. Will you come back again?
My pleasure.
Thank you. Number 2, you only have 80 seconds to answer this question. What is your most fervent desire?
So, first of all, tell me what fervent means.
Fervent means that you
Like
are
strong desire?
yes, that this is your passion. This is what your most powerful desire is right now. What do you want to see happen for you or the world?
Kindness among people can really generate some great results. If you're asking on a personal level, I certainly want good health for my family, loved ones, which I have a huge extended family, many of we just mentioned. So I don't take any of that for granted. You go to the gym issue. I work out every single day that I'm here in Las Vegas. Every single day. I try when I travel in New York as well. But I do that. I may not have a 6-pack to match my good looks that you described earlier, but I'm trying to stay healthy. So that is, and also just let's just continue to try to share some positivity. I'm not as animated as you. I'm not as knowledgeable as you in that field, but it's just as easy. And the results are crazy. They really
Mm-hmm.
are. So
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. There's a lot of conflict, the politics and all of that. I just am not knowledgeable enough to comment on all of that. But I do think each of us in our own small way can contribute. And the more you share positivity and the more you do the giving that you spoke about, that joy that you described, I forget the acronym exactly, it really is
Journey
something
of
special.
you. Yes.
That journey of you, I think, starts with giving.
Okay, the third question, dear sir. May I give you a hug in front of 369,822 people around the world?
Am I permitted to blush?
Yes, but let me tell you what a hug stands for. You ready? Heartfelt,
Yes.
unlimited giving. Heartfelt, unlimited giving. Ready, Jeff? On the count of 3. 1, 2, 3. And you've been
In
listening
my
to
less way,
watching.
thank you.
Thank you. The Joy of Living podcast with your humble host, Barry Shore, and our amazing guest, wonderful Jeff Fried. And remember, this show is not about Jeff, no matter how good he is, or about Barry Shore, no matter how much you love him. It's about you, Y-O-U, you becoming the best you possible. And when that happens, you make the world a better place. You build more bridges of harmony, create more joy, happiness, peace, and love in the world. And you'll be happier, healthier, and wealthier. Who doesn't want that? Or your money back, freely given. Remember the 3 fundamentals of life. Number 1, life. Your life has purpose. You lead a purpose-driven life. You make a difference in the world. You go mad. And to unlock the power and the secrets of everyday words and terms like WWW, what a wonderful world. Smile, seeing miracles in life every day. As my 8-year-old niece says, seeing miracles in everyday life. Create the kind of world you want to live in, causing rethinking, enabling all to excel. A little shift in perspective. Keep that F in place so shift happens, and therefore what choice, not chance, determines your destiny. Like Jeff has taught us, choose how to respond to any given situation with kindness. Keep inspiring noble deeds. Use 4-letter words as frequently as you can. Remember, the 4-letter words we use, because we live in the world of positive, purposeful, powerful, and pleasant, are love, life, hope, free, gift, play, pray, swim, and tell the world to F you, capital N, capital N. So after the show, you see your family and friends, and you see your family, say, F you, everybody. Remember, add right away, capital N, capital N. So where'd you get that? You listen to Barry Shore on The Joy of Living. They'll give you an opening. Say, what'd you talk about? Well, he had this guy on, Jeff Fried, and he's talking about business and people and doing things right and giving of yourself. So therefore, what I ask you to do, Jeff and I, go forward. We're going to say, we urge you to use the 2 most powerful words in the English language every single day, the rest of your life, from now and forever. It will help you, your family, your friends, and all living beings. And these 2 words are Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. To harmonize and nurture kindness. To harmonize and nurture kindness. Again, everyone you meet is fighting a battle you know nothing about. Therefore, be kind always. Keep inspiring noble deeds. And our blessing from Jeff and Barry is go forth, live exuberantly, spread the seeds of joy, happiness, peace, and love. Go mad. Go make a difference. Jeff, don't go away, please.
Thank you for listening to this episode of the Joy of Living podcast. Now that's another step towards your healthier, happier, and wealthier life. Never hesitate to do good in the world, no matter what the situation. Join us for another upbeat discussion next time at barryshore.com. And be sure to leave a rating and subscribe to the show to get more conversations like this. And remember to share it with your family and friends too. See you on the next episode.